Good evening, one and all. We'll be starting our session in few minutes. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022. On occasion of World Social Work Month, World Health Month, World Press Freedom Month 2022, and commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. We welcome you all once again to the International Webinar Series. Before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Yeah, with the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue to today's session. Today we have with us Bhavya P, Faculty in Social Work from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar PG Center, University of Mysore, Chamarajanagar, Mysore, Karnataka. We welcome you, ma'am, once again to this international webinar series, and we invite you to take over for your session on women and law in India, live-in relationship. Over to you.
Thank you, sir.
You can start sharing your PPT.
Okay, okay.
The PPT is not well, sir, because of some.
Can you try sharing again?
Okay, sir, tell me. Okay, PPT is not there, sir. Explain it.
You will continue orally without PPT?
Yes, I will there. Why?
Any specific error you are getting?
Error, sir. Okay. Okay, I explain, sir. PPT is not there.
Okay, ma. You can mail the PPT to our email address you have. Na?
Okay, sir. Just a minute.
Okay. It's wswd2022@gmail.com.
WS.
wswd
Okay.
2022 World Social Work Day 2022
2022.
gmail.com.
Tell me, sir, again.
wswd
2022.
at gmail.com.
Okay, sir. I send it. Okay, sir. I will send. Check it, sir.
You can continue orally, ma'am, by the time we download and present.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening and the welcome all and my well-wisher. I am Bhavya, guest faculty, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar PG Center, Suvarna Gangotri, Chamarajanagar. Firstly, I thank to my well-wisher supporting me, and also I thank to Mary Madam, Mary from Florence Madam. I thank to Dr. Ravindra sir, and also thank to all participants and my friends, colleagues. Firstly, now about the women and law in India. Live in relationship. The live in relationship, a law has been playing the vital in a social changes. Society is the constitute of individual. Okay. PPT content is the very less because of my work pressure. No problem. I explain the elaborate explanation.
Okay, ma, you can continue without PPT also. No issue.
Yeah.
I think there is no much content also.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Is content of the individual, the institutional of marriage, the marriage being a foundation of the society, interested of society is well protected by a keeping of foundation of institutions of marriage the strong, since the matter related to the marriage fall within the purviews of personal law. Each religion in India is having its own law relating to marriage along with other family matters. As we are the observing the changes in living partners in the society, the law has to respond properly, the keeping in view a societal and constitutional values in its mind. All of us are families with the adage that the marriage as made in heaven means that in ancient time it was the consider that marriage are decided by the god and soulmate of earth itself. The marriage is a social union or a legal content between a people that creates a kingship. It is an institutions in which the interpersonal relationship, the usually intimate and sexual are acknowledged is the variety of way depending on the culture and tradition in which it existed, such as the union after the formalized the wedding ceremony may also be the collected matrimony. A marriage leads to the bonding between a man and women. It ensures the security for children, the security of a children. The ideas to marriage, the institutions is treated as the sacrament is Indian culture. The perception towards the marriage is changing now. The living together or live-in relationship is a content of the living together which is renewed every day by the parties and can be termed by the either without the consent of the other, as people who choose to have a live-in together. The live-in relationship cannot of the others. Is the people who choose have live-in relationship cannot explain, the cannot complain about a inferiority complex. Therefore, it can be said it nothing more than pleasure, drive for selfness, a selfish the interest. Everyone has been a morality, a liability, and a life ensured, a norms to enable to future generations to a proud of birth. Birth in the sense they having kids, a culture, a traditions, and a natural identification, the natural identity. The responsible couple will leave a privileged legacy and not the various liabilities to the progamy. The even when a present normality rise, their children and many perceptions measures are required to the insulted the children from the ill affected of the unsatisfaction, societal developments, and the various projections of a modernity. In cannot after to a through which the proven of time tested the merits of his custom to the winds. The live-in relationship are a choice-based relationship. The where the will a partner is missing. A partners missing. There are always changes of a conflict of ideas and opinion in the family. As a result, it will weaken the relationship between the partners under this trend of marriage. The system, a new dimension has come out, will all a short of technical features. It is highly citizenized to dependent on the Indian regarding its legality and the implementations of social justice, implementations of social fabrics itself. A man is opposite to the women only on the psychological levels. In no other way are they opposite. But a big issue has been made out of it. It is a simple difference nature has been made for the perception of a race, but because it need to there within us because the human have a few more sensibilities and a very stronger the very emotions as compared to animals. Then nurturing two children and bringing them out is not going to happen properly unless there is a committed atmosphere. The only for the living relationship it means is beliefs in committed relationship provide a nature. They're living together. With marriage, there was some the sense of commitment. That commitment, a full you back to you want of the way of put you back through is a little bit the uncommitted relationship can cause us of enormous amount of insecurity in the people. The relationship have become so painful because there are the consistency, the unsecure, the uncertain. A human being have so many complex and emotions. You just leave it to run react. And most people will because the instead there are a few who free from the but very 99% of the population's incapacity of going inherent in the emotions are not somehow organized, channelized. The institutions of marriage was created handling only the beliefs. The beliefs is most important is every human being providing the marriage system, either arranged marriage, love marriage, it may be living together, most of that. The marriage is an outdated family, the format that defined as the oppositions, the party local. The party local is a high status of father related families, the institutions. The marriage has been a source of the opinion to women who continue to the disadvantages by the generated merits, the rules that the snap in behavior of a contemporarily the spouses. The spouses is man and women having together is providing kids. A social utility of marriage as a suitable family from the serves as modern justification. The justification is most important to the society. The how to live in like that, either arranged marriage or love marriage, living together, whatever it is. A justification is most important to the society. How to me for its the special legal status that is not grounded on the aberrations of moral superiorities over their families, the legal benefits that are part of marriage functions to encourage a couple to the undertake a formal, a committed to assume family responsibilities. The family responsibility, not only the responsibilities of kids, the responsibilities of overall family members, and the reward from for going, so it privilege the justified my view, so long as it is untaken on the basis of a non-discrimination, the instead in not excessive and is part of the comprehensive policy of the family supports that is not justified as it not comfortable with the contemporary values in residential discrimination, the hostility, discriminations to other families, norms, and based on the moral, based on the status, the based on the materials itself. The only the values that human being only materials, the standard of living, the good. I have good standard of living is like that. I have so much of material. The so much of have material itself. The superiority of marriage. The superiority of marriage is judgment to the Supreme Court held that not all living together will amount to the relationship in the nature of marriage to get the benefits of the protections of a human form, a domestic violence act in the year of 2005. The women in such a relationship are a not entity for any maintenance unless the following conditions are the fulfill, such as the couple the must hold themselves out a society as being the akin to spouses, families. They have a legal age to marry, a legal age providing marry. The nowadays a marry comfortable is 21 female, 25, 26 male. They must be the otherwise qualified to the entire a legal marriage, including being unmarried. They must have the voluntary cooperation and cooperations, they themselves out the world as being akin the spouses for the significant period of time. There again the questions arise, the what is significance, the what is significant period, the what is a gang to measure a proximities of living together with that marriage. These conditions make it more difficulties to have a women the favoring the men. It is the spaces, a nature of marriage is far from the obvious that it is already to ground for the consist. PWEDVA is provide legal settlement is there in section 2 by F of the act is the applicable regarding to the second the patential, the cure, the placed relationship in the nature of marriage for its marriage status. The marriage status, it means the leads to the dimensions, the rights, the legally a wedding wife. It is the High Court is rejected both these construct regarding to the constitutional status of the act, which regards to the second constructions, which is of a concern of us. The court said there is no reason the equal treatment should not be accordant to a wife as well as the women who has been is living with man as is a common law, a wife or even as the mistress. In this case is judgment, the in separations, the relationship in nature of a marriage as covering both common law, a marriage, and a relationship with the mistress without the clarifying the legal and social, the social status themselves. It is a very sensitive issue. The living together is very sensitive issue. The sensitive is more than only for hello, sir, audible?
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
Okay. It's a very sensitive matter. The living relationship is very, very sensitive only for the belief taken in the living together as men and women. The more and more people to obtaining the living together, that thanks to one's partner, incompleted is domestic violence, the higher studies, the rapid development of a town and cities, educational barriers, the radical changes in thinking. Hello, that's sir, can I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Continue.
It is this is what has prouded has been pointed out by the Supreme Court. The verdict a cases is Kalyani, state of the inspector of police, which is referred to the situations in a wife. The short out it charges a girlfriend of this husband. Other section 497 of IPC, permitting to a adultery to judgment, they explain it. The state that a present law does not allow an women to the changes under this section. A thoughts not status is explicitly is true. The two senses. The first is married women who enter into the adultery relationship with a man, any man, the married and unmarried. There cannot be changes under this law by a husband who can however change the men. The second is agreement. A wife that cannot charge a woman who has sexual intercourse with her husband. Is living together is what is mean by the living together. The meaning is very important to the subject. The definitions of living together. A living together, it means the agreement, the whereby the two people decide to live together on a very long time, the long term, or a permanent basis is the emotional and or sexual intimate relationship in term. The most frequency applies to a couples who are not married, only for the living together relationship. It is a beliefs content. A live-in relationship is a agreement where is heterosexual a couple lives together without entering into formal relationship. That is called as a marriage. It is the informal agreement without the content is two parties, the men and women. The legal definitions is a living together, an agreement of a living together under the proof where the couple in unmarried to the content, a long going relationship, the similarly as a marriage, only for the agreement. I am a living together in one person, so the agreement is there in so and so years, the long term, the permanent itself. The agreement process will be there in living together. The living together relationship, sometimes called a de facto marriage, is becoming more commonly known as a suitable for a conventional marriage. It is a treated to the institutional of marriage. The concept is a gaining movements in the metro cities, in the possible to matter a living together is a common, not only the rural side. The young generations people are accepting it as alternative to the marriage. The alternative to the marriage you have a living together is a mastery of a long time, the establishing a custom, a social institutions of marriage. Marriage is a constant of the manifesting of social, a physical and mental relationship, a man and women. The marriage among a Hindu or both sacrament to a construct. It is sacrament because there is emphasis on the a performance on customary, a ritual, the ceremonies, including a saptapadi and panigrahana, and also kanyadana is most important to the marriage system. It is a construct because it deal with the capacity of the families, spouses to enter in the aviance to marriage, what is living together, whatever it is, the mutual understanding or the any agreement issues. The cooperation is most important to the living together. The only beliefs that have a complete, a long journey to the living together only for the beliefs. Night stand or 1 week, a 1 month, 1 year, the cooperations to the living together in a amount. Test, it means before marriages, of if unable to legal marry, the simple, because it does not involve a less than a formal and informal marriage. It has been also observed that living together by the couple, in the living together, that a marriage after no benefits to them. However, be a reason, it is the clearly evidence that even is traditional society, the where the institutional of a marriage is considered to the secret of increasing number of couples choose the a living together, the living relationship. The sometimes even as a permanent agreement over marriage, it give rise to the various social, the various economical, the various legislations concept. A person any find out, find themselves the living in together, the either by a choice or the circumstances, the relationship by a choose or those where a partners live together, if may exist, even where it is a relationship by a choice of those the various partners lives together, it is a part exist, even there some or both partners are the already a legally marriage to the another persons to yet engaged such as a relationship as a matters of a references, a reference and the preference of another person. There are a leave in the partner who are custom sense, a consideration, a choosing in leave as live in. They do not want to the status of formal marriage. They are happy to they continue in live in together, live as live in is continue. They do not want to status of formal relationship itself. The partner only. The relationship is a relationship is the frictions in law, and as no intimate relationship of a partners, the a kind but which a passes a time passes, they start having any feelings of other, hence the finally getting to live in together. Such a relationship are the voluntarily, not a forceful having in a living relationship. On the other hand, relationship by the circumstances is other where the ones are a both partners is under the mistaken assumptions, the what a valid a divorce from the persons married or cannot, the offer to be marriage again due to the economic reason, due to the attachment, due to the adjustmental problem, due to whatever it is. This may occur in case where the men and women is led to beliefs that a man was unmarried or divorced or the widows, and a married him, the married her itself. If the man and women they follow all the ritual of the marriage, but already had a wife of our husbands living a such time from whom he or she, and now to divorce as it is marriage will not be the recognized to in law. As such relationship are the living together, a similar situations occur the when a marriage is a soul for which is a constant the obtaining by the rituals. The couple is continuous to the live-in relationship as husband and wife for the considerable time. The considerable time, it means the very long time. Or it means the beliefs our mind. However, where it is a partners differentiated between the women in living together, the living relationship for women, they referred as it means a word is keep, KEP, is a quite the vulgars, but the Indian society, the people is a commonly the misconstructions and after a misuse if the women in living together relationship. A woman is not a keep in living relationship. The women is voluntarily joined and gives the equal contributions in the relationship. The marriage is universal. The marriage is a institutional, and it is that a social relationship which is found the everywhere. Is the a word a result is that today new generations has no beliefs on a old age customs. They want to lead a very independent life, the without any the interforce. They purposeful in highlighted to the importance of a union of men, a women, which is the a constructions, the social constructor, the social structure will be there. Therefore, it does not matter whether we call it the marriage or living together or living relationship, because the ultimately the aim is both the accept the formal performed in traditional way by the performance of the sacrament, while the later the based on understanding of men and women. It is concept of living together. Every society has it a own culture, have the own morality. If they are a law to a governor, a government of a public life of an individual and the a personal lives, it is often the problematic. The government by the culture, morality of the society, the public, private, is a debate as on given rise to conflict in the recognize of rights of women, rights of men, and also concerned have been rises about the putting a live-in relationship are the is a condemnment. However, the is Delhi a court is judgment the fronts that the protections of women in living together is does not entity to is other relationship. It relationship in living together only for rejections of a changing a social reality, but also covered the injustice, the preparations who the women are is a bigamy of marriage. So what is mean by marriage? The marriage as an institution. What is mean by marriage? The marriage is only that a proud. A marriage is made in heaven. A given the very deep the meaning of marriage. The marriage is an of a religious rituality, the richness by which two persons a different a sex a committed for a lifelong. The marriage can reinforce the reinforce for family. A system is very well accepted by the society. In marriage system, even a time of the couple, or it is due to a strong traditional, a strong culture of India, the Indian society, and as to a greatest with each other due to the strong traditional and strong culture of Indian society, the greatest family system all over the world as compared to other Western countries, living together as well as marriage, both have their own pros. The fashions of living together as they affected all the youth of the society for the various reasons, such as relationship give the two partners a maximum opportunity to the rights, a liberty, the right to a privacy, a right to a life. Speaking about the culture of India, it is well known that a majority of Indian are a convenience. It where they lead their life, the encourage of uncertainty. The concept like a living together, a living relationship would it create the style in a society, the leading to the multiple disturbances in all norms, the long crisis, long values, the long institutional like marriage of families. It may lead to situations there the already being neglected from the customs. The most important, the most importantly, young girls is the very dangerous of being a misuse of a crowd men. There is girls and because a very having victims, the victims of must reinforce is false beliefs, positions both the philosophical and practitionary. when a live in India, a country, a reverted for the culture, heritage, a traditional. I thank of living together. A very sensitive thinking in living together is the improper, the improper. Some old, a very bold couple believes that going for the weddings is such as the waste of money, because they think their love does not need any paper certification, the certificate of social drama. According to the is their true nature of all human beings are a polygamy marriage. A polygamy makes them a monogamy, which is against to the nature. The reason after marriage to people a keep relationship the outside the wedlock. We can infer from analyzing the relationship to a relationship, and if it the evidence to live in relationship, the live in relationship, it means a largely from professional like the entertainment, the advantages, the modernizations of media. A living together or a living relationship are practiced most in the metropolitan cities. Such practice is still a social a taboo, is a major part of our country, which is it is constituted by the villages and town. There is a gradual practice. The most in metropolitan cities having highly the living relationship, the sacrament argument, a marriage to love, a marriage and the a utility, the ultimate to living together due to the many reasons like lack of tolerance and lack of commitment itself. The legal status of a marriage has become the focus of a great deal of conservations in recent year. A social releases is it means a voice to alarm at the decline of marriage in an era. It is a divorce rated are high. The increasing number of people live in a non-marital families. The social welfare, a social welfare rested on the survival, a revival of traditional marriage. The adult is the intimate partnership, the who is the understanding, undertake commitment to the one another should be the free to execute consent, embracing the mutual obligation. The mutual obligation is most important. The union should have no special legal status. The first modern marriage is the embracing. It is traditional as religious institutions. The event today, the marriage is not fully emerged as a circular legal status. The vestige of religious, the origin of marriage, the continues to shape it means the attitude and inform the views of the many marriage differentiations, causes, concern, commitment, secular, legal, whatever it is. It means the second traditional marriage was deeply the hierarchy of institutions, The institutions is which waves, where legal and social subordinates to their husband. The disputes, a trend toward a legal equality of husband and views, the marital values, roles, the continue to the generations to where that live any a female depends and a vulnerable. Furthermore, the Domestic Violence Act is considered 2005 as give a stereotypic kinds of definitions of a domestic relations that say a relationship between two persons who lives are at the any points of time lives together a thought relationship in the nature of a marriage. The expressions in live-in relationship, it is ordinary sense to a means that two people living together without a entity is establish any kinds of permanent relationship between them and he and she, he and she, men and women. The partners in such as kind of relationship intimacy, the lack of a commitments, which it means partners, unmarried men, unmarried women, are married men and unmarried women, are women unmarried, men unmarried, the women married, are the persons of a sex any live together. The main issues that concern everyone who is interested in the progress of a society are namely whatever the Indian society is prepared to accept such a new kinds of relationship, the new kinds of relationship, but are the representations, the acceptance, rejections, such as a relationship on a continuous progress in the Indian society. The living relationship should be existing law. The relating maintenance, a maintenance is a graduality. The maintenance is the success of living together. It is accommodations, cooperation, collaborations of living together relationship. What is the role of Indian judicial is the sphere of emerging of such relationship. Live in relationship in India. The what is by India having living relationship? It means let there be the faithfulness to each other until death. This is short, should be known as the highest duties of a husband and wife. So let's husband and wife, the ever stream, they're doing all their duties, they share equal responsibilities, the equal duties, the equal functions. They together have the duties and responsibilities is together, that they may not be separated from each other. The wonder apart is Manudharma Shastra says. The practice of women, the practice of men living together without being a relationship of the formal marriage has been in a practice of a long time. It was not at all considerate the immoral for men to live a live-in relationship with women outside their marriage. Consider is kept for men the entertainment and relaxation in a federal society. The sexual relationship between men and women, the outside marriage was the totally boosted, a tubes and regulated regarding with a distinguish and honor a dispute. It is the living relationship. It have the historically marriage was deeply the partial. The partial is the high status of men families. Men families, it means the husband families. The multi-local, it means the higher status are living in the a female or the wife families, and bounded the wives to their husband in relationship of a subordinated to a depending the law as a come to the express, the come to a vision of marriage, the mission of marriage, the rules and regulations of marriage, the functions of marriage. But despite a formal equality, a traditional, the marital roles, the status to the reinforce the dependency and the voluntarity of women, the obligations marriage, and a replacing it is living together status. Many the influence of traditional gender norms, the history of the roles of law, supporting a patriarchal. The patriarchal marriage is in the familiar. The husband enjoyed the virtually the complete legal dimensions over their wives, and differentiated the marital roles, the were embraced in the legal regulations of marriage. The husband, the governor, a government is family. He had the authority to control his wife property as well as a disciplines or his children. It is the duties of support them. The wife had a separate legal identity. There are the obligations, the obliged to a husband to care for their homes, the care for their families. The changes that began in the 19th century. Treated like so many issues itself. The legal reform, the important that they have in a transformation, marital roles, which is a continue to a genderized in important way that most women take their husband names. and assume the primary responsibility only for the husband only, nothing of women. The marriage for a time, a homemakers, the kid, a kid, supporting kids. Then when I educated two women with professional training in law, the business, a trend to the sacrifice career, advancement as academic, the family responsibility is more. That's why I am job quit. I am have a homemaker. That's all. After by working a part time and a dropping out altogether, when they have children, the when marriage end to the divorce, the women have a lower income than their formal husbands, do parties of because they awarded a clouded of kids, the children after divorce, upshot in the 21st century, generated the marital roles that contribute to the women a financial voluntarity. The financial voluntarity is most important. Not everyone regret the presences to differentiations a marital roles and importance tenet of family values. The movement is the children needs. The movement is both a mother who devoted herself to the care, as well as the strong father to provide financial resources and a marital is moral support, the moral guidance. It means the marriage increasing a likelihood that the children will be raised in a single family, a single union known as allowed both the a father, the mother. The reason for grow up a living together relationship. What is the reason in a very high living relationship here in Indian society? The first advantages in living together, the over marriage is that it is only the one only the secular marriage is the religious sacraments as well as legal status, that is illegal or civil, and the religious dimensions are the linkage between the husband and wife, a couples. The today are marriage by secular authorities such as only for the judge, the Marriage Agreement Bureau. But is modern status of marriage a continuous to the embracing? It is the historical, traditional, as well as a the religious institutions in the society. The commitment to the separations of church and a state, the close associations of government created a status in religious practice and beliefs of solving the problems. The marriage has become more secular the over time, but for the many people is identified as a religious, the sacrament, and as the social and legal is institutionalized in the inseparable. Marriage is sacrament, the institutionalized between a man and women, though it is however legally necessary to define that the sacrament of marriage. The differentiations between the marriage and living together can be the attributed to the complex web of social norms and conservations that a surrounding of marriage is a structure of social meaning, a development of over countries singles the importance of marriage and the create behavior, the expectations is more, the expectations of the spouse, the men and women, who reinforce their a commitment to one together, the one another, and contribute to the stability to the relationship in a living in together. The construct, the socialist, described live-in relationship under a institutionalized the a behavior. The expectation is more, expectation is less, is very informal union, the very among couples, no well defines. It means the social norms, the engaged of two parties, men and women, toward the any another in way that reinforce the relationship between the living together or marriage itself. The legal commitment that define marriage as another important functions that distinguishes a marriage from a living together, the legal rights and obligations, rules and regulations, the one certificates, the undertaken by the parties upon the entering is formal union can provide sustainability, subsequent of sustainability, the either financial or any other condition status itself. The financial protections to it depends a families, the members in living together formal, the in a enforcement of these legal duties will be rare, but all will certain by necessary, the necessary norms, encouraging spouse, the encouraging men and women to provide care and support to one another and to other families member. But if we union dissolute to legal rules, a private and financial support, and for a sharing properties of the marriage, there are provide depends spouse or partners itself. It's a measures a financial protections, they upshot is that a formal intimate, the formal union are likely to enjoy a stability of living together relationship. The informal living together and also more likely provide financial security to a development, a family members. The last few decades have however seen the advantages, the advent of a new form of live-in. Their men and women, the coordination and cooperation together, very belief that without a concerning of the formal marriage, without formal marriage, they went through there is no legal handle prevention them from doing so. The traditional Indian society, however, it disappeared of such live-in agreement. There's several known reasons. Beside, if women was financially dependent on men, not only all women but also few women dependent in financial support of men, the instability of such relationship created to it subserved for the women. It means the women is providing facilities about a timing, very bold, very brave. It is not a first time. Living together is in the habit of debates, of discussions. There is has been a long standing as a controversy whether a relationship between the men and women living together without marriage can be recognized by the law, which a changing a social hypothesis, entering new events in the countries like Indian, very bonded by in culture, traditional ethics, ritual, laws, practice laws. The finds legally anything wrong in living together. This, however, cannot be the constructs that a law promotes such relationship. A law traditionally has been based in the favors of marriage. It is reserves any rights and privilege to marriage and persons to preside and encourage to the institution of marriage. Such stand of popular cases living together is appear that by the large is based on the assumptions that they are not between equal, and therefore women must protected by the court of from the partial. The partial is high status of men family. The power that defines marriage, which covered the relationship to the basic ideas, cooperation and collaborations, is conducting living together or living relationship is that the interesting couples, they want to test their competencies for each other before going for some a commitment. The other reasons are some financial concern of a heterosexual itself. The concept in living together have come out the close net and the even founded is recognitions in law, civil system, is protections of Women from Domestic Violence Act, PWFDVA, in the becoming in the year of 2005, as it recognizes, it is there has been a debate, is public public forum on a federal recommendations and opinion from different authorities, different commissions to higher arm to existing law from doing so. A major reasons that living together or marriage is still irrelevant, that will remaining so in fathers is further a future generations, a future in because of children needs a security of home, it must be raised by both parents for the best result. Home is something to came back to after guiding days. The home is where children, They tried for the such equal importance reasons to save children's leave. You take their own homes. It means next concept of providing is a law and live-in relationship in India. There is no status directly is dealing with the living relationship in India. The Indian Marriage Act in the year of 1955, the confused the legislation, the legacy as child born out living in together, a living relationship and a marriage is establishing their a succession and property rights, the equal divided to the children's. The valid marriage is not marriage is the eyes of law, a protections of women from Domestic Violence Act in the year of 2005 also provide some kinds of protections to the agreements, the aggrieved parties from any kinds of atrocities the faced by the females. A living in a relationship is nature of marriage. This act has been the wild is related to the female relationship nature of marriage is considered as this act the legal act to recognizing is this the existence of non-marital adult the heterosexual relationship. A relationship is act defined who will be covered under this act. The further the act defined domestic relationship between two persons, the who lives or have to any point of time lives together, the shared household when they related to the contiguity. The marriage throughout relationship in the nature of marriage, the adoptions of family members. Adoptions family members together is name. It means the joint family. A joint family having use. The use is idea. The relations in the nature of marriage is axiom and women justice. It means a committed as well as law commissions of Indian status. The Indian states that if women of as being is living together or marriage is really reliability of period issued. They enjoyed the legal rights of the wife and husband. The committee also recognized and recommendations to adopted are the amendment of the definitions of wife under section 125 of the criminal procedure law CRPC, so that women in living together can get status of wife, but there is a lack of a consistency, is commitment can is simultaneously seek a maintenance the IPC. The IPC sections 125. The men on the other hand may be a successful to changes the adultery and a bigamy at the sometimes a pay maintenance to the women with whom is in a adulterous relationship. A adulterous relationship is providing payment. The Hindu Marriage Act in the year of 1955 does not recognize living together nor does not the criminal justice CRPC, a criminal procedure code in the year of providing 1973. Other hand, protections of women, the from Domestic Violence Act 2005, from for the further is providing a protection and the maintenance to women, says that, and the agreements, the aggressive, a living partner, many be granted limaries. The long-term cooperation and collaborations between two gender, male and female. The could after a number kinds of graduations such as the intimacy, the possibilities of a further a relationship, a dating, a traditional, more traditional dating, a more sense of freedom from marriage institutions are proceeding to the liberties, less than free and dealing a process. It has a rightly a remark by humble justice. It means a consider a living together of society today now. According to the Hindu Marriage Act, there is no provisions for the second wife among Hindus. The ends enabling a mistress to get the status of a legally married life. It all matters including share in property, inheritance, and maintenance in a construction to act well Hindu customs. On the other hand, a sections advising freedom, the observations is she should welcome because lays down the emphasis on the individual freedom. The individual freedom, it upon understanding personality, behavior, attitude, emotions, ethics, culture, etc. Relationship, living relationship, a walking out of such a relationship would much easier than the walking out of marriage. The metro life that it throws it is challenges all supports the kinds an arrangement. The individual should be free to give as they things, but adjust a subject only to the institution's marriage, the action, a choice, a causes, a norms, arms of others. The very radical attitude some people are on views. The women should be given the liberty to choose their life partners, should not they force in marriage if they are not ready. The claim for the financial relief, the financial beliefs such as providing the facilities in the living together itself. And also finally conclude part, living together relationship is the very important to today day-to-day life. The conclusions part in living together is whenever having good relationship, the whenever a breaking up, it only for the beliefs. The beliefs is the more effective of providing facilities, a good marriage life in this society. A marriage life providing having kids itself. So the living together is also important to the marriage system. It means Locke takes that a living together relationship. It means takes marriage is necessary. It based on the social foundations, that the social foundation from in which the important legal rights obligations they emerged. In ancient times, marriage was considered to be the declared by the god. His marriage is made in heaven. It means the associated with it. It is considered to be a spared social institutions. The marriage, according to the Hindu law, is a holy union for the performance of religious duties. It is not a construct by it is sacraments together, men and women. The Hindu marriage protect and women by guarantees or legal rights for restrictions, ritual of a conjuncted rights. The cases of the described legacy is providing facilities in law of children's beliefs in cases of very closely in adulteries. The importance of claim maintenance in the marriage system in living together itself. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hello, sir. Sir. Hello. Completed my presentation now.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for sharing the insights. So, how do we conclude this after listening to almost 1.5 hours? So, what we want to say with this entire discussion, whether living in relationships are productive or counterproductive, or whether they are advantage or a disadvantage, if you have to conclude in just 1 minute or 2-3 sentences.
Okay. A need for the institutionals of marriage is inherent in every man. Is fact evidence from the fact the institutional of marriage as the evaluated and is existence. The almost very civilized countries, this needs for marriage is rooted in the amen, the ceremony, and for the achieving the stability. It is the life, such as the stability, and it means the certainty can be achieved only through marriage. Therefore, whether new kinds of relationship between the men and women is innovated, it is bounded. They acquired the form of a traits of marriage. Some as being the cases is living together in initiating if that started off as something different form of marriage, but gradually it has the imbibed the almost all characteristics only for the same characteristics of the marriage. That's all.
It is very important and have a legal sanctity for any relationship, because this is a long-term relationship. I mean, uh, to what extent it can be a temporary arrangement, because
Not
we
only
don't
temporary,
see.
but also a long-term process also have in living together relationship.
Yeah, but as you have raised so many concerns and issues, but even the security or the other factors, the legal sanctity, the social approval, and all these things are, I mean, in the Indian context, it makes things more complex, and it is adding to the existing problems. So, what do you feel? So, I mean, even in an institutional arrangement, if we see that women are not secure,
Yes,
giving a thought that may not be true or may be true to some
maybe
extent,
maybe true, may not be. That
then
only
having such a living in arrangement where there is no sanctity, where there is no commitment, where there is no uh, uh, such a what we say binding rule or a law or something like that. So how women can be secure in such an environment? So is it maybe I mean we have to understand it in different ways, different perspectives. So I don't think so. I mean this can be a long-term sustaining uh, relationship. Maybe a lot of concerns are there. Maybe the I think this is most debatable topic, which is
yeah.
needs to be dealt in different perspectives. Maybe we have dealt in two or three perspectives. But at the end of the day, what I personally feel is these relationships are never fruitful. Yeah. I mean, they bring on a lot of other issues, all kinds of issues also. So maybe we need to think over, especially getting into these things. It may not be an appropriate thing, but again, it depends on case to case basis. Maybe some people, for exceptional cases, it might get well along, but most of the cases, it might not suit. So these are the things we need to be very cautious when even making a statement or taking a stand. Or we need to maybe it should be on a case to case basis. Maybe a legal perspective we need to take over. I think Virendra ji, are you available? I mean, can you sort from legal? Virendra ji, can you unmute yourself? Okay. Can you send us the write-up for this session, ma'am? Whatever you have discussed. Maybe we can just review over it and make some suggestions, or because this is most debatable topic.
Yeah.
Maybe we can look into it. We can have different perspectives. Anyway, it was a nice listening to this, and definitely such topics need to be discussed, and we need to see what are pros and cons. Maybe not every aspect might be a pro, or every aspect might be a con for everyone. So for some it may be good in some aspect, and so for some it may not. So let's explore more possibilities and see how it really works, or if it works out in a proper way. So thank you. Participants, if you have any queries or any comments, you can unmute yourself. Or you can raise your hand so that we can unmute you. In this topic should give scope for a lot of discussion. Anyone would like to comment or ask or share your opinions? Feel free. No response. I think they are also thinking over. Okay, anyway, it was nice discussion.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe once again, whenever time permits, we'll be prepared so that if you can inform well in advance, maybe 1 week or so, maybe we can invite different perspectives, what different people are thinking about it, and so we can just see, try to explore more about depth about the subject. Thank you once again for joining us and for the wonderful session. We wish you all the success and look forward for more sessions even in future. We'll be sharing a certificate in a couple of days to WhatsApp. Thank you. And participants, I'm sharing feedback link in chat box. Kindly fill up the feedback link form. We have 5 minutes to fill up the feedback form. Then we'll be closing the meeting. Everyone, kindly fill up the feedback form. We'll be closing the meeting in 5 minutes. So quickly fill up the feedback form.